Hey everybody, it's Charles, your hobby hero, and I've got another CGC unboxing for you today with a twist. But before we get started, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button down in the bottom corner. I do appreciate it. I do put out regular content about the hobbies that I love the most. Now, this one with a twist is a 25 book pre-screen for 9.8. The twist is these are all books that have been rejected by CGC in a 9.8 before. So these were all brought back. I thought, hey, this book really does have a chance at 9.8. Some were repressed, some were just submitted as is. And we are going to see how we did. It's a big box, so some of them got slabbed in a 9.8. And there's a few of these books that are PC grails for me as well. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Alright, so we've got, out of 25 books, we've got a healthy number. We're graded, let's see, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, looks like maybe 18, 20 or so. We're graded. We'll see what got graded. We'll see what got rejected, and we'll see if those rejects, if I think there's a shot at resubmitting them again and seeing if maybe we can get lucky with a 9.8. Now, for those of you asking, why would you submit it if it already got rejected once? Well, all grades are subjective, and different graders sometimes have different opinions on those grades. A CGC 9.8 is not a perfect book, so a book with a minor imperfection can still be a 9.8. So one grader sees it, it's a minor imperfection, it gets a 9.8. Another grader may see it and say, hey, that's a little too much for a 9.8, and kick it out. These are books that are right on that fringe, and again, as we can see, there's a pretty good return on those books that are really, really close, sending them back in. So I'm not going to hide the grades from you guys here because they're all going to be 9.8s if they're slabbed. I'll let you know if it's a book that I repressed or if it's a book that was just resubmitted as is because it looked that good. All right, so first one up is, okay, we've got Venom Lethal Protector. It's the first appearance of Scream, the symbiote you see on the front there. I really do like this book. 90s book, so it's not rare. But with that white cover, it is harder to get in a 9.8. I picked up a ton of these books. And I think maybe 2 or 3 of them got the 9.8. Most of them were not in that one. I'm a big fan of this book. This one was not repressed, just resubmitted. I really think that there's like one little spine stress right here. It doesn't even break color, but there is a black line that goes right down the line there. So it does make it really easy for somebody to see it and a spine stress on it and kick it back out. I resubmitted it, got this one back in a 9.8. All right, next one up is, okay, we've got the Star Wars, The Mandalorian #1. Actually, I think there were 5 copies of The Mandalorian #1 that were submitted with this order that were not rejects. They were just to fill in the 21st through the 25th slot in here. This is the action figure variant. This is the first appearance of The Mandalorian in comic, and the first cameo appearance of Grogu on the last page. With this first full appearance being The Mandalorian #2. Love these action figure variants. I love The Mandalorian. Wanted to get a couple of these in a 9.8 and submitted a couple of the variants on there as well. Surprisingly enough, the cover A's are really, really hard to get in a 9.8. There was just a lot of print issues with it, and it's thick cardstock on the cover A's. So a lot of those had issues on them. Okay, second action figure variant. Won't talk too much about that. Same as the first one. We may just have all 5 of the Mandalorian ones here. Okay, there is the movie variant there. I like that one as well. Don't know if he'll do a signing anytime soon. I have another raw one that would probably send in to get signed. Those movie variants I like for signings because it's the actual actor on the cover versus the regular comic books. That's a movie adaptation or TV adaptation as well, so I don't mind those either. Next one up. Okay, this is a second print of the Black Panther. This is the first cover appearance of Tosin. His first appearance is obviously in this book as well, but this is the second print. These books had a huge number of issues when they were printed. off the print run. Staples were loose on a lot of these due to those issues, so they would actually slide a little bit, and I'm sure if I tapped this one, this cover would probably slide as well. There were 5 that I had submitted in a previous submission. I think I resubmitted all of them. Did not repress, but I did make sure that the cover was well aligned before I sent back in. This one got a 9.8 on that one. I have a handful of those coming up here in a row. It looks like this one might be, yep, another copy of that as well. I do like that one over the first print. I do think this, like a number of them weren't ever graded just due to the print defects, and I think a 9.8 of that book, if he ever pops off, will be kind of hard to find. Okay, we got 8 Billion Genies. This is the 1 in 50, I think, ratio cover on this one. Love the story. Love this book. I was able to pick this one up right before the series kind of exploded. I was able to send this one in. Got the 9.8. Another one, I don't think this was a reject. I think this one was just sitting to finish those last few spots off. But glad that one came back in the 9.8. Homage cover for curse words on the front there as well. If you're not reading 8 Billion Genies, you should. Pretty sure it has already been picked up to be a TV show. I think it'll be a great show, and I think it's a great book, and we'll probably have a number of spin-offs that come from it as well. Next one up, New Mutants. This one is actually the first appearance of the new warlock. It's also first appearance of the demon bear as well. This book was rejected. I had a number of these that I picked up as well. I love this cover. And a 9.8. It's actually a pretty cool book, fairly scarce. Don't remember what I saw on this one. I'm trying to get that glare. It looks like there's a little bit of an indentation on there. Why this one got rejected? There are no color breaks on this one. I may have repressed it just to make sure on this one before I resubmit. I don't remember 100% on this one. Great looking book though. I was surprised it didn't get through the 9.8 the first time, so I resubmitted. Got the 9.8 this time. About halfway through the graded books. Next one up here. Okay, Star Wars High Republic #1. Really big on this book. This is one of the spec books that I just keep kind of sucking up. A number of first appearances. They have all but confirmed a High Republic series is coming to Disney Plus. Tons of Jedi in this series. Tons of just possibilities for this book. I've got a number of the covers. This one was submitted, got rejected at 9.8. Again, no color breaks on this particular book. I do think there was like a bigger spine stress that I repressed and got it a little less noticeable and resubmitted for the 9.8, so happy that one came back. I don't even know what my count is on that. I think I've probably got 20 plus different covers of that book. Just never going to be unhappy to pick that book up in either mystery boxes or they were in Walmart 3-packs for a while. I was happy to get. Another copy of the Black Panther. You can see that rippling up through the top there. Not uncommon on those modern books. But again, similar. No color breaks on this one. Lined up those staples. Resubmitted. Got the 9.8. I'll have to check and we'll get the rejects and see if any of those Black Panther second prints didn't come back at a 9.8. Okay, so here it is. This book right here is a big PC grail for me. Very, very hard to find this in a 9.8. And if you do find it in a 9.8, it's probably going to set you back close to $800 at this point in time. For those of you who do not know what this book is, look down here in the bottom cover here. That is the first cover appearance of Invincible. And this is actually his first cameo appearance in story. Now, he had some preview appearances prior to this, but he actually appears in the continuity of the story for one panel. And this book is a very low print run because nobody was reading Noble Causes, and this is actually a spin-off of the Noble Causes series. He also, this is a variant cover, so this is the cover B, not the cover A. The cover A has one of the characters from Noble Causes just kind of curled up into a ball on the front cover. So the cover B, obviously the homage to X-Men, with his cover appearance down here, very highly sought after. This one will be going up on the wall, so you can leave me a comment down below which book you think I should take off to make room for this one. Super excited. This one had, it's got the smallest bit of color rub on the very back. I can't even, I know it's on there because I know I worked on it with an absorbing pad like 3 or 4 times. And no color breaking spine ticks. I do have this book already in a 9.6 that had just the smallest little color breaking spine tick, but there's a lot of black, so they're really easy to see. So very, very happy to have this one in my collection at a 9.8. And if you know anybody that's looking for a 9.6, I have this one to upgrade mine now, so I can move that 9.6 out. Super excited to have that book. Again, just like I said, I'll have the census numbers up there. Just a really low pop book at a 9.8. We got another cover of the Black Panther second print. Can't remember. I think I got like 10 copies of this whenever it first came out. Toastin was going just absolutely nuts. The first prints were going through the roof. I think I got 10 copies. I think my brother picked up 10 copies. I think between the 20 copies, right off the shelf, cherry picking the ones that the store got, we still only found probably less than 10 total copies that were CGC 9.8 candidates. So just gotta be careful. You just never know what's gonna happen on there. Oh, this is another big one too. I was really upset about. This is the ratio cover for the first appearance of Elsa Bloodstone, or sorry, Lyra Bloodstone. Elsa Bloodstone is her sister, and she is on the cover of the ratio, the 1 in 10. She was also, they used the same cover for the second print. This was the only copy of this that I picked up though, and it looked great. I don't know why it got rejected the first time. Resubmitted it without a press, came back in 9.8, so happy to have that one now because I really didn't want to go and buy another one already graded. All right, down to the final 3 that were graded. Okay, we got the Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man #1. This is the first appearance of Harley Keener. Another first appearance that I'm super high on. This is the Disney Adventure Island variant. Actually harder to find and starting to creep up a little bit higher in value. Harley Keener has been strategically placed throughout the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He has been reintroduced fairly recently and to the mainstream media through the comic books. They put him in a Disney park attraction that is not going anywhere anytime soon. I don't think this kid is going away, and I do think he could be a big player in a future phase of the MCU. So I picked up a ton of these. I continue to pick up a ton of these. This one came back not in a 9.8. Again, could not figure out why. It got black on the back, but there's no color breaks, there's no color rub. Resubmitted, got the 9.8. So happy to have that. I also have, I think, 2 of the Disney Park exclusive copies of it. I think I have 2 of the 1 in 25s of it, which were super hard because nobody ordered 25 copies of the Web of Spider-Man #1 because nobody knew there was a first appearance in it. And I've just been picking up the regular cover A's and B's since then. So next one up. Okay, we've got another Spider-Man book here. So this, I collect, if you don't know, I collect the Spider-Man costume appearances that have appeared throughout the Spider-Man universe. This is one, this is the only time it shows up here, but this version of the Spider-Man costume is the first and only appearance in this one. I wanted a 9.8 copy. I sent this book in before. It did not get 9.8. It got rejected. I went ahead and repressed it. I didn't see anything wrong with the book. I mean, minor stresses. No color breaks, though. So resubmitted. Got the 9.8. Happy to have this one in the PC. Not an expensive book, but, I mean, you can pick the issue up for $3 or $4, but at 9.8, it'll probably set you back about $100. So I'm glad that I did not have to pay full price for the 9.8. I was just able to pick it up in a collection and clean it up and get it submitted. Last graded book before we get into the rejects. Okay, and we've got the Amazing Spider-Man number 1. This is the homage to New Mutants 98, the J. Scott Campbell variant. I actually got this one as part of a trade for this New Mutants 98 that was up here as well. First time it was submitted, did not come back in 9.8. It is a very thick book. I don't know if there's really any way to illustrate that. If you've held this issue of Amazing Spider-Man number 1, it's a thick book. So repressed it just to make sure we had no spine stresses. It's an absolutely perfect looking copy on here, and resubmitted it. Got the 9.8. I mean, you can actually tell like the back. I don't even know if I can get the. It might show up in the glare if I can get there. Like it's so big, like the plastic case that it's in. Yeah, you can see that kind of like ring around it because it just fills the whole space there. So you have that part pushing against the back of the cover or case as well. So that is all of our graded ones that came back. Here's our raw books. Kind of a thick box. We'll see how many rejects we have. Look at them again. It's been a while since I've seen them. See if there are any opportunities maybe to resubmit these in a future submission and get another 9.8. How many we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rejects on here. So it would make 17 books total, right? You can go back and count, see if I'm right or wrong on here. First one up. Oh, okay, Airboy. This one was going to be a stretch. This one does have some stresses on this book. I picked this book up very inexpensively. Loved this cover. It is a high grade book for sure. I would say the absolute lowest is a 9.6, but it has the tiniest of color breaking spine ticks on the front, but it is in a dark blue section. I may be able to work on that stress a little bit more for a resubmit. The book's really only worth extra in a 9.8. And I think this one may have a little bit of opportunity left. It may be a book that we resubmit later. I won't be unhappy to have it raw, but it will only be encapsulated if I can get it in that 9.8. So hopefully we can work on it a little bit, get that one pressed up. I do think that one does have potential to get a 9.8. It's just going to be one of those, again, subjective things where the grader is going to have to kind of lean on the minor side over the major side. You'll always be able to make an argument for it to not be a 9.8, but I think you can always make an argument for it as well. Okay, so we have another copy of the New Mutants, and I can see a big indentation right there. On this one, some rippling at the top. Doesn't appear to be any color breaks. There's a tiny little color break tick on the back. And you got like a micro tear. I don't even know if I can get you to see it on that top corner there. So probably unlikely to get a 9.8. I mean, that's a manufacturer issue. However, I don't know that it was prevalent enough to where they would say, yeah, we can go ahead and give that one a 9.8, because that was not done from the reader. I have a 9.8 now. I don't know if I'd risk resubmitting this one. It might be one of those like 25th books in a submission that I'm doing a 9.8 pre-screen on just to see if it goes through. All right, next one up, we've got, okay, Ghost Rider 28, first appearance of the Midnight Sun. This is a newsstand. I know this one had a pretty big crease on the back in the white. Obviously it doesn't break color because it's in the white. Let's see if we had any reversion. These are also like polybagged, so a lot of times you get the polybag crease come back. I don't see the polybag crease. It does have one really tiny color break on the front. I'd have to look at comps. I'm not sure if this is worth getting graded in a 9.8 is a very, very clean newsstand copy that I think has a shot at a 9.8. Again, very similar to that New Mutants, or the Airboy rather. You could make an argument, probably looking at it any time, and say that's not a 9.8 contender, but the defects on it are so minor that I do think it could still fall into that category. So we'll see if I decide to resubmit that one or not. Got here. Okay, this is the Batman Hush. I have 2 copies of this book, one in a newsstand that I do not think has a shot at a 9.8, even though it is a near mint copy. There is some rippling on this one here. It could be where it came from. I don't even know if I pressed this book, honestly. Like that's a lot of rippling. So we may repress and submit this one. It has some spine stresses on the front, and some on the back. I doubt they put any grader's notes on a reject here. But this one is probably one that will get resubmitted again, definitely after a press on that front cover. On this particular book, it has a really glossy cover, so it's possible like we just had some reversion after that press as well, or just while it was sitting at CGC for however long they had it for. All right, 4 rejects left. There's a newer book here we got. Okay, Amazing Fantasy. It's the first appearance of Arana here. I did get this book fairly inexpensively. Thought it had a shot at a 9.8, which I am in the market for. Looks like it has a finger bend on the back spine here. I don't know if I can get it to show up in that light or not. I don't think so. Has like 2 spine stresses. They don't break color. There's definitely that finger bend on the back. I think we can probably repress this one and resend. I feel like I would have sent it off with these finger presses on the back, but like I said, you just don't know. Get in a little bit different light, and something might be visible that was not visible in a different setting. But great book. I do think that there's a high chance that we see her in either an Into the Spider-Verse project or possibly even a main verse project. Okay, 3 books left. Okay. So this is one of the Mandalorian covers. This is number 2. So this is the first appearance of Grogu. Not sure why this one didn't make the cut. Obviously a brand new book. I think this is I guess there are pretty good spine stress on the front here. Hard to tell. I feel like it does break color, but it like breaks color right into the pattern of the book right there. Kind of see it in the right light. So maybe I'll press that one out and resubmit. Obviously I hope I can get the first Grogu in a 9.8, because that is a book that I will want in a 9.8. So we'll repress that one and it will definitely be resubmitted. I think that's the Mandalorian 2. Let me have some. Yeah, Mandalorian number 1. So this is the one I was telling you about. These are really kind of hard to get in a 9.8, and it looks like I might not have gotten mine in either one on a 9.8. There were pretty big creases in, I'm missing dog ear to the top. I'm going to guess that happened elsewhere. I can't imagine I submitted it like that. I don't know if you can get it on one of the sides here. Yeah, you see it at the top there? This whole corner's been dented in, so it might have gotten damaged in shipping. So we may be able to press that out, but I mean, it's a thick, super glossy cover. So it's not an easy one to press. It's the only thing I see. Obviously not going to get a 9.8 with that kind of mark on it. But glad it was, you know, a brand new, you know, cover A book that took the fall, so to speak, on that one, rather than one of these other books. And that means this one here is another copy of the cover A. Yep. Is it also corner? No, not the corner on this one. Don't know why this one was rejected. A couple spine stresses, I guess, on the back. Nothing crazy. Could press out if we decided to resubmit it, most likely. I would assume that's what kicked it back out. I don't really see anything else on it, and those are certainly pressable defects. So that's it. So again, whole 9/8 submission. Out of those, I think there were 6 total books, maybe 5 or 6 books that were not 9.8 rejects. The rest were 9.8 rejects that had been resubmitted. I guess varying degrees of whether they were pressed or repressed or not. Big PC book for me, obviously the Invincible book. Super excited to have that one. Let me know what your experience with resubmitting 9.8s have been in the comment section below. And until next time, guys, Hobby Hero out.